Welcome to the RuleBook. I'm your host, Alex Palmer, and I'm the queen of learning things the hard way so you don't have to. On this podcast, we're talking about the mistakes I made and the lessons I learned along the way to create the rules I now live by. On each episode, we'll be discussing a new rule, why I created it, how it came about, and how you can apply it in your own life. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the RuleBook, everybody. This is episode number 30, Main Character Syndrome. There's so many things to talk about. In the news this week, Donald Trump is pleading not guilty to a bunch of new charges about those documents that he decided to take home with him. Kourtney Kardashian announced her pregnancy to Travis at one of his concerts by holding up a sign that says, "Travis, I'm pregnant," which was super cute. And I guess it was a reference to one of his earlier music videos. Kim Cattrall is coming back to Sex and the City. Well, technically, she's coming back to And Just Like That, which is the new name of the show. But don't get too excited. It's simply just a cameo, and I don't believe she's filmed with any of her other cast members, so who knows? And Black Mirror premiered season 6. So if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, can you guess which topic I'm going to do a deep dive into? If you said Sex and the City, you're wrong. You're wrong. I love Sex and the City, and I can't wait to watch on Thursday. But no, we're going to talk about the Black Mirror episode, Joan is Awful. I'm not the biggest fan of Black Mirror, only because it freaks me out. I remember watching that first episode of season 1, and honestly, I still have scars from, what he had to do with the pig. It was weird. I did watch one other episode of Black Mirror that was like not as graphic, shall we say. I can't remember what it was called. If I remember, I'll just put a text on screen. But my friend Alan this week was so insistent that I watch this new episode called Joan is Awful that I was like, okay, I'm going to have to bite this bullet and just watch it and check it out because he's telling me that it blew his mind. And I'm glad that I did. The best part about Black Mirror is the fact that you can sort of watch any episode from any season and you don't feel like you miss anything, because this show is technically called an episodic, meaning each episode stands alone on its own, almost like a little mini movie. So if I just taught you a word, you're very welcome. If you haven't watched the episode yet, what the heck have you been doing? It's been out like 4 days. Just kidding. You're late, but that's okay. I'm going to try not to ruin anything for you. But in the beginning moments of the show, we see Joan, the titular character of this episode, in her therapy session, and she's complaining about her relationship. She's talking about missing her ex and how vanilla her current fiance is, and she doesn't even like his food. And she says she doesn't feel like the main character of her life. But since this is Black Mirror, be careful what you wish for, because that night she goes home and Streamberry, that world's version of Netflix, makes her life into a show that everyone can binge watch, starring Selma Hayek. And her fiance sit on the couch watching this show. So rule number 30, being the main character 24/7 isn't really necessary or possible. Being Carrie is fun, but so is being Samantha, Miranda, or Charlotte. Or even Stanford or Anthony. Hell, throw them in there. This whole being the main character phenomenon started on social media, and it really took off during the pandemic, with videos telling all of us to really start romanticizing our lives, especially the little small moments, and, documenting them so that we can look back on them later. And I guess in a not so intentional way, it was sort of, encouraging us to create content in a way. And during the pandemic, when the only way for all of us to really connect, especially with those who were not in your building or in your same apartment with you, was to go online and talk to the camera. And hence, many, many people became content creators during this period. And if you're not a content creator, maybe you don't know, but you pretty much fucking document everything, because everything is content. Everything is content, apparently. But what the hell does it mean to be the main character anyway? It means to show up in every situation as if all eyes are on you. It means to take risks, live your life to the fullest, put yourself out there for everyone to see, give them a really good show, right? This is seemingly good advice, I guess. But just like everything, you can always have too much of a good thing. Now, here's the thing about being the main character, especially on social media, it's a lie. What we share on social media is really just a fucking highlight reel. It's not who we truly are. We're picking out the moments that we want to share. I mean, we're literally editing our lives to fit into this 9x16 fucking concept. I don't know about you, but I personally don't share what I don't want others to see. Yeah, you have full control, which is great, but I know for me, I mentioned so many times, even to my therapist, that if someone were to scroll through my Instagram account, they would assume that I'm doing really, really well. And I think even friends of mine who maybe I don't speak to every day, they can also just be like, oh, it's easy for your friends to forget about you because they're like, oh yeah, I saw her the other day. She was like, she posted a picture of like this cool restaurant she was at. She's doing great. But that's not necessarily the case, you know, because even though you're busy churning out fucking content, that doesn't mean you're not in your shower fucking crying at night. Because trust me, there's many things I do not share, because I've definitely had comments from people who were like, oh, Alex, you're so positive, you're so this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I guess that's what these people want to see from me. So I can't really be 100% real. Or when I was real, I always felt this kind of guilt. Like, I gave myself the ick, right? I'm like, wait, I'm being too vulnerable right now, or I'm sharing too much. When you're scrolling Instagram and it's like, oh, so-and-so had a baby with so-and-so. And people will be like, who is this? We don't even care. And it's like two like big, it's like fucking Brad and Angelina. And people are like, who the fuck is that? We don't care. Oh my God, the economy. Or like, okay, valid, but people do make you feel bad on social media for especially sharing your personal business. Not that I'm advocating for that. I'm actually not. But that's what these tech companies really want us to do. They want us to think of ourselves as the main characters and to curate these perfect versions of ourselves that we can share with our peers and keep them on their platforms and keep them entertained. And they can do that, and they can do it for free, especially with the smaller content creators like me. I really haven't, I think I made $100 off of Instagram, and now Instagram is not even like monetized in that way unless you work with a brand. So yeah, there you go. But in a weird way, the more that we do that, the more that we create this content that is either aesthetic or funny or entertaining or just shows this one facet of ourselves that other people enjoy consuming, the more we're actually becoming cut off from ourselves. The thing about Joan is awful is that they actually showed her in a more negative light. They showed her firing someone, cheating on her boyfriend, and just overall being a shitty ass person. Things that, you know, your typical girl or boy would not post on their social media account. And of course, she immediately wanted to stop playing that role. She immediately wanted to have Streamberry cancel her show. Right? But what if they had showed her only in a positive light, like what we all do on social media? Maybe she would have been flattered by the you know, like the romanticization of her life and her portrayal, I can't say that, and continued on and eventually became so burnt out by this pretend version of her life that actually is not attainable, that maybe she still would have met that same outcome, right? Pulling the plug on the computer. Girl, that's a spoiler alert. I'm fucking sorry, but be real, you're not going to watch the episode if you're watching this, or if you haven't already. But yeah, being the main character is really not that fun when it means you can't be the real you because you're so afraid of being judged or how you're going to be perceived. I had a conversation with my friend Don about this a long time ago. He's also an actor and I'm an actress, and we both have been made aware that our social media accounts and our follower numbers is very important. Initially, before the pandemic and everything, I was concerned only with acting. I was not concerned with my social media accounts. But I did know that it is obviously very helpful to have a large amount of followers, especially when you're going to audition for, say, like an indie film, and they want to know what you bring to the table besides your fucking talent. It could be, oh, well, I have 100,000 followers who I'm going to promote this movie to, and you don't have to do a goddamn thing because I already have them built into my back pocket, baby. So yeah, it'll help you in multiple ways, especially as a performer, because that's what social media is. It's also a form of performance. But if you're performing just so that you can go and get an audition and you can perform there, it's like it all just becomes too fucking much. It's like an endless cycle of performance. And I'm not saying I don't like social media. I don't like performing on social media. I fucking do. I do, because I don't get to act that much, but that's neither here nor there. But look, if you become so obsessed with making your life picture perfect, you're going to realize sooner or later you're missing out on the real moments of your life because you're so obsessed with curating this like virtual reality version of yourself. If your drive to be the main character is all about sharing it with an audience, then you're not the main character at all, are you? Because a main character doesn't give a fuck about having an audience. A main character is going to be the main character no matter what, even when she's alone. You're playing a version of yourself that you think everyone wants to consume. And oh my fucking God, women do this all the time, don't we? We remove every inch of body hair so that men and other women won't judge us and will see us as more feminine. We subscribe to all of these, gender norms and all these things that, have to do with our body and our appearance to make us, more consumable to the man or to the woman or whoever, but to the fucking male gaze. So it's even like, to be honest, the amount of upkeep that I've done on myself over the years, I'm sure that I have lost months, days, years of my life because I've been so sitting in front of a mirror, doing my hair, doing my makeup, picking the outfit, getting this waxed, getting this painted, whatever. And I'm not saying, I don't enjoy doing those things. I do, please. I'm a girl's girl. But what's underneath that? I know that what's underneath that is like seeking validation and approval from others. No matter how much we do enjoy it, when you start to look at it, it's like, oh, this is just my maintenance. Like, I don't know, when is it too much, right? Even though this season of Black Mirror really didn't get the best reviews, I loved this episode because it reminded me of how when you're little and you walk around thinking, oh, I'm the whole universe and everybody around me is just maybe a figment of my imagination, and you truly believe that. But the moment that you stop believing that and you really realize that, I think is when you truly grow up. And social media obviously benefits off of us treating our lives like TV shows and ourselves like the main characters. But we should probably realize sooner than later that none of us are really the main character. And thank God for that, because it would really take the fun out of everything, which is what Joan kind of discovers in Joan is Awful. The owner of Streamberry is being asked by a journalist, why did you pick this woman, this Joan woman? Why did you pick her to do a show on her life? And she goes, there's nothing, extraordinary about her. She's just an average, everyday person. She's not the fucking main character at all. And you see like this look of, I don't know, like disappointment across Joan's face because we've all been taught that that's what we should want. And look, I'm guilty. We all want attention and we all want to feel like the main character. What the fuck does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. So don't let that pressure of performing get you down. You don't have to perform your life for anybody. If you choose to, that's fine. I mean, I'm gonna still perform on social media all she wants. But I'm just saying that don't let other people's highlight reels get you down. And please don't compare your real life to someone's like online presence, because that's just not fucking reality. We even see in the Joan is Awful series, they're like exaggerating what actually happens to Joan, and they're making her out to be, a worse person than she actually is. So it just goes again, like, it's all bullshit. Check out Black Mirror if you can stomach it. I don't know if I'm going to be watching the whole season, but this episode in particular is one I really wanted to talk about, with like the advancements in AI being made, the fucking writer's strike, this whole thing about, being the main character, even though they don't ever really reference social media. That's what I took away from it, and I just wanted to share. So look, guys, come back next Tuesday for another episode of the Rulebook. Please DM me any topics you'd like for me to cover, any news stories that you think are interesting that I can make a rule about, and follow me at Serious Actress across all social media platforms. All right, bye guys.